In the vast expanse of human existence, we often find ourselves surrounded by a kaleidoscope of faces and personalities. Each individual we encounter presents a carefully crafted version of themselves. A mask shaped by society's expectations, personal circumstances, and the roles they have learned to play in the complex drama of life. These masks are not always deceptive, sometimes they are protective, sometimes aspirational, but they are almost always influenced by the world around us. Whether it's the professional who wears the mask of success, the friend who plays the role of the peacemaker, or the individual who dons the cloak of unwavering confidence, we are all, in some way, performers in the theater of life. As we move through our daily existence, we interact with countless people, each one seemingly different, yet all bound by the shared experience of navigating the intricate web of societal expectations. We often judge others based on the outward persona they project. But how often do we wonder what lies beneath the surface? What lies beyond the masks we wear? What is the true essence of the person beneath the layers of outward presentation? The truth is, it's incredibly difficult to see beyond these facades. Society encourages us to judge based on appearances, and we are constantly bombarded with messages about success, beauty, and status. We are conditioned to believe that the mask someone wears is the person they truly are. But Zen and Buddhist teachings offer a radically different perspective. One that challenges us to look beyond the illusion and recognize something much more profound and enduring. In Zen and Buddhism, we are taught that the true character of a person can be understood not through the mask they wear, but through the simplicity of their actions and their state of mind. These ancient teachings remind us that to truly understand someone's essence, we need to observe not everything about them, but two very specific things. These two things, seemingly simple, hold the power to cut through the layers of social conditioning, revealing the authentic nature of the person before us. What are these two things, you might ask? And how can they help us not only see others more clearly but also gain insight into our own true nature? These are the questions we will explore in this video, drawing on the deep wisdom of Zen and Buddhist philosophy. You see, Zen and Buddhism teach that we often become trapped in the illusion of external appearances, mistaking them for reality. The way someone dresses, speaks, or behaves, these things are all part of the mask. But to perceive the truth of another person, we need to look deeper. And for that, Zen and Buddhism provide us with a guide. By honing our ability to notice these two key aspects of a person's character, we can move beyond superficial judgments and truly see the soul beneath the surface. But this process is not just about understanding others. It's about developing a deeper awareness of our own mind and actions. The two things we are about to discuss will not only help us recognize the authenticity of those around us, but will also guide us on the path towards self-realization. In essence, these teachings help us clear the fog of illusion and return to a state of clarity, where the true nature of all beings, ourselves included, shines through. So, as we dive into this exploration of Zen and Buddhist wisdom, I invite you to open your mind and heart to the possibility of seeing the world and its people with new eyes. By the end of this video, you'll have a fresh perspective on how to recognize the authenticity of those around you and perhaps discover something new about your own character in the process. This journey is not just about understanding others, it's about awakening to the truth within us all. Let's begin this exploration and uncover the two things that Zen and Buddhism teach us to observe in order to see the true character of anyone we meet. The masks we wear. We all wear masks, whether we acknowledge them or not. From the moment we step into the world each day, we are performing a role. Society imposes certain expectations on us based on our gender, age, job, and even our background. These roles often come with scripts, unspoken guidelines on how we should behave, what we should say, and even how we should feel. The mask of the successful entrepreneur, the caring parent, the responsible student, or the diligent worker. Each of these masks serves a specific function, designed to help us navigate the complexities of the world around us. These roles enable us to interact smoothly within society, to gain acceptance, and sometimes even to survive in an environment that values outward success and conformity. But are these masks who we truly are? The answer is not as simple as yes or no. At first glance, it might seem like the roles we play are the essence of our identity. After all, we often define ourselves by what we do, the titles we hold, and the expectations placed on us by the world. A successful entrepreneur might identify with their role as a business owner. A parent might feel that their primary purpose is to raise and care for their children. In many cases, we internalize these roles so deeply that we forget to ask whether they align with our true selves. We become so enmeshed in these masks that they start to feel like our authentic identities. Philosophers and spiritual leaders, especially in Zen and Buddhism, would argue that these masks are only a fraction of who we truly are. They are the outward expressions of a deeper, more complex inner self, shaped by external forces, family, society, culture, and circumstance. Zen and Buddhist teachings suggest that when we rely too heavily on these masks, we lose touch with our genuine nature. We begin to identify more with our roles than with our authentic essence. We become convinced that the mask is the whole of who we are. And in doing so, we forget that there is something beneath the surface, a deeper, unchanging core that is not defined by titles, roles, or societal expectations. The problem with this reliance on masks is that it fosters a disconnect from our true selves. We start to measure our worth and happiness by how well we play the role society expects of us, rather than by the quality of our inner being. We may achieve success in the external world, but at what cost? Zen and Buddhist teachings warn us that when we become overly attached to our roles, we risk becoming trapped in a cycle of constant performance. We may strive for validation from others, seeking praise and recognition for the mask we wear. But we might find ourselves feeling empty or disconnected from our own essence. When we wear a mask, we are presenting an image of ourselves that is shaped by external factors. These masks are not inherently bad, they serve as tools for us to interact with the world. But the danger arises when we lose sight of the fact that these masks are not who we truly are. In Buddhism, this is referred to as attachment, the attachment to a false self, built on illusions of success, status, or approval. By identifying too strongly with our roles, we become trapped in a limited, distorted version of ourselves. We start to confuse the mask with the person behind it. Take, for example, the role of a successful entrepreneur. Society celebrates financial achievement, the creation of businesses, and the acquisition of power. A person who identifies too strongly with this role may begin to believe that their worth is tied to their success in the business world. Their identity becomes fused with the mask they wear as an entrepreneur. And any failure or setback in their business might lead them to question their self-worth. They may experience anxiety, stress, and a deep fear of losing the mask, as if losing the role would mean losing their true self. Similarly, consider the role of the caring parent. While nurturing and caring for others is an admirable quality, when a person identifies solely with the role of being a parent, they may forget who they are outside of that role. Their entire identity becomes wrapped up in their children's achievements, needs, and behaviors. In extreme cases, this can lead to burnout, as they lose touch with their own desires, passions, and individual needs. The role of the parent, while significant, becomes a mask that obscures the full richness of their being. Zen and Buddhist teachings invite us to reflect on these masks and question whether they truly represent our inner selves. In these traditions, the emphasis is not on rejecting the masks we wear, but on seeing through them. We are encouraged to notice the roles we play and the ways in which we identify with them. But, more importantly, we are urged to recognize that the roles we play are fluid, they change depending on where we are, who we're with, and the expectations of the moment. For example, consider a situation where someone might shift between roles. At work, they may present themselves as the confident leader, while at home, they take on the more nurturing role of a parent or spouse. Even the same person might act differently depending on whether they are in the presence of friends, family, or strangers. Zen wisdom teaches that all these roles are impermanent, they come and go. In Buddhism, this impermanence is a key concept. Everything is in a constant state of flux. And by clinging to these roles, we create suffering, as we attach our sense of identity to something transient. The Buddhist path encourages us to look beyond the roles and masks we wear. It teaches us to observe our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without judgment and without becoming attached to them. Through practices like mindfulness and meditation, we can begin to peel back the layers of the mask and reconnect with our true, unchanging essence. In doing so, we become less concerned with how others perceive us and more focused on understanding who we are at our core. By seeing through the masks we wear, we are able to cultivate a sense of inner peace and authenticity. Zen teachings tell us that true freedom comes from letting go of the need to perform or conform. When we stop identifying with our masks, we free ourselves from the constant pressure to live up to expectations. We become more aligned with our true selves. And this alignment fosters a sense of deep peace, compassion, and wisdom. So, how do we begin to see through the masks? The first step is awareness. We must become aware of the roles we are playing and the ways in which we define ourselves by them. This is where Zen and Buddhist practices, such as meditation and mindfulness, can be incredibly powerful. These practices allow us to step back from the noise of the world and observe our thoughts and actions without judgment. We begin to realize that the roles we play are not the sum of who we are, they are simply aspects of our existence, temporary and ever-changing. In the end, the Zen and Buddhist teachings remind us that while masks are an inevitable part of human life, they are not the essence of who we are. By recognizing this truth, we can begin to peel away the layers and reconnect with the deeper part of ourselves that exists beyond roles, labels, and societal expectations. And in doing so, we move closer to understanding our true nature, which is unchanging, authentic, and beyond the limitations of the masks we wear. The essence of character, Zen and Buddhism's view. Now that we've explored the masks we wear, let's delve into the core of what Zen and Buddhism teach us about true character. According to these ancient traditions, genuine character is not something that can be judged through superficial aspects of our lives. It's not about how we look, what we own, or even how we behave in public. Rather, true character lies much deeper. It is a reflection of our inner being, beyond the influence of external roles and societal pressures. In Zen, the emphasis is on simplicity, a core tenet that invites practitioners to strip away the layers of illusion that cloud our perception of reality. Zen teaches that the mind is often clouded by distractions, desires, and societal expectations. These influences obscure our true nature and prevent us from seeing things clearly. To reach a deeper understanding of oneself, Zen suggests that one must first unlearn or let go of everything that has been superimposed onto our consciousness, be it false beliefs, accumulated knowledge, or even ingrained habits. This process of shedding illusions allows us to get in touch with the raw, unfiltered truth of our being. It's through this experience that we begin to experience life without the constant interference of judgment or expectation. The famous Zen koan, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" is a perfect example of how Zen challenges us to go beyond intellectual understanding. The answer isn't something you can deduce with reason, it's an experience. A moment of realization that comes only when we quiet the mind and open ourselves to what is. Without attachment or expectation. Buddhism offers a complementary perspective on character, emphasizing the importance of mindfulness and right understanding. According to Buddhist teachings, true character is cultivated through an ongoing practice of awareness and presence in every moment. By observing our thoughts, words, and actions, we can begin to discern whether we are acting in alignment with our authentic selves or whether we are merely conforming to external expectations. Mindfulness encourages us to notice our impulses, desires, and reactions without immediately acting on them. This awareness creates space for us to respond consciously rather than react impulsively, allowing us to align more closely with our true character. At the heart of Buddhist teachings on character is the concept of right understanding, which is one of the elements of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right understanding involves seeing the world as it truly is, not as we want it to be, not as society tells us it should be, but as it is, in its raw and unadulterated form. This kind of understanding is crucial to recognizing the impermanence of our emotions, identities, and desires. As we cultivate right understanding, we begin to see that the roles we play and the masks we wear are temporary, fleeting expressions of our true, ever-present essence. Buddhism also teaches us that true character is not defined by our external success or failure, but by our ability to remain present, compassionate, and wise regardless of circumstances. A person's true character can be seen in their reactions to adversity, in how they treat others, and in how they maintain inner peace amid chaos. For example, a truly compassionate person doesn't just act kindly when it is convenient. They act from a place of genuine care, even when it requires sacrifice or effort. Likewise, wisdom in Buddhism is not about knowledge or intellect, it's the ability to act skillfully in any situation, rooted in awareness and a deep understanding of impermanence. Furthermore, Zen and Buddhist teachings stress the importance of non-attachment. While society encourages attachment to roles, possessions, and achievements, Buddhism teaches us to loosen our grip on these external identifiers. True character, in this context, means letting go of the need for validation or approval. When we stop clinging to external roles and outcomes, we make space for authenticity to emerge. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibilities or abandoning society's roles, it means carrying out these duties without being consumed by them, and without losing sight of our deeper, true nature. The process of uncovering true character is not instantaneous. It's a journey that requires consistent self-reflection, mindfulness, and meditation. As we practice mindfulness, we learn to observe ourselves without judgment. We begin to see when we are acting out of fear, desire, or societal pressure, and when we are acting from a place of genuine self-awareness and compassion. This awareness gradually reveals our deeper qualities, our capacity for kindness, wisdom, and equanimity. In the Zen tradition, practitioners often use the method of zazen, or seated meditation, to quiet the mind and strip away the distractions that hinder self-understanding. Through meditation, one is able to experience a direct encounter with the present moment, without the interference of judgment or self-constructed narratives. In this space, the true nature of character can begin to shine through, not as a series of roles or identities, but as an inherent quality of being that is always present, waiting to be recognized. Ultimately, the Zen and Buddhist view on character teaches us that true character is not something we construct through our actions or roles. It is something that already exists within us, beneath the layers of societal conditioning. When we let go of the need to prove ourselves, when we quiet the mind and stop chasing external validation, we allow our authentic nature to reveal itself. In this way, character is not something we have to strive for, but something we rediscover, a reflection of our truest self, untainted by the masks we wear. How they treat others. One of the clearest ways to understand a person's true character is by observing how they treat others. In Zen and Buddhist teachings, compassion, kindness, and respect for all living beings are fundamental values. In fact, one of the core tenets of Buddhism is the practice of metta, loving kindness, a universal wish for the well-being and happiness of others, regardless of who they are or what they can offer us in return. Zen and Buddhism emphasize that how we interact with others reveals the depth of our character. It's easy to show kindness and respect to those who hold power, wealth, or influence, individuals who can potentially offer us something in return, such as material gain, social status, or validation. But the true test of character comes when we encounter those who have nothing to give us, those who may be less fortunate, less influential, or even those who seem difficult or unworthy of our kindness. How does a person behave towards the janitor, the waiter, or the homeless stranger on the street? These interactions offer a much clearer window into a person's heart than any superficial encounter. Consider a simple but powerful example from Buddhist teachings, the story of a monk who spends his days in meditation, immersed in silence and solitude. One cold winter day, while walking along a busy street, he notices a beggar sitting on the curb, shivering from the chill. The beggar, hunched over and wrapped in tattered clothing, seems invisible to the passers-by, ignored by everyone in the rush of city life. But the monk, without a moment's hesitation, approaches the beggar. He offers him food, a warm blanket, and a few words of kindness. This seemingly small act of compassion speaks volumes about the monk's true character. It shows that his compassion is not reserved only for those who can reciprocate, but extends to all beings, regardless of their social status, wealth, or perceived worth. In Buddhist thought, the act of giving is not just about material support but about recognizing the shared humanity in others. The monk does not see the beggar as an inconvenience or a nuisance, but as a fellow being deserving of care, dignity, and kindness. In Zen, this attitude is known as compassionate action, where the focus is not on self-interest or reward but on the act of loving kindness itself. The practice of metta, spreading goodwill and compassion, extends beyond our inner circle of friends and family. It calls for a mindfulness in every interaction, to treat all beings with the same respect, regardless of their station in life. The essence of true character is seen in these moments of spontaneous generosity, where there is no expectation of anything in return, only the genuine desire to relieve another being's suffering. What makes this particularly powerful in both Zen and Buddhism is the concept of interconnectedness. The teachings emphasize that we are all part of a larger whole, and by cultivating compassion for others, we are, in a sense, nurturing our own humanity. When we treat others with kindness, we are reminded of our shared human experience. We acknowledge that suffering is universal, and by alleviating the suffering of others, we contribute to the healing of the collective. Take another example. A Zen master once spoke of how to approach the act of service. He said, "When you wash the dishes, you wash the dishes. When you sweep the floor, you sweep the floor." This seemingly simple instruction encapsulates a profound teaching about presence and intention. It's not about what we are doing, but how we are doing it. If we serve others, whether it's through physical acts of kindness or words of encouragement, with full attention and a genuine desire to help, we are practicing the essence of compassion. It's not the size of the action that matters, but the purity of the intention behind it. When we reflect on our own actions, we may ask ourselves, how do I treat the people I encounter in my daily life? Am I kind only to those who can benefit me? Or do I extend compassion to those who have no power or influence? This simple inquiry can offer us valuable insight into the nature of our own character. It challenges us to look beyond the roles we play and the masks we wear, encouraging us to examine the depth of our compassion and kindness. It is in these small, everyday moments that we truly reveal who we are. If our character is defined by how we treat others, especially those who cannot offer us anything in return, then we begin to see how our inner nature aligns with the teachings of Zen and Buddhism. Compassion, in its purest form, is unconditional and boundless. It transcends social expectations, transcends the masks we wear, and leads us back to the simplicity of being present with others in a way that acknowledges their intrinsic worth as human beings. In conclusion, observing how a person treats others, especially those who are often overlooked or marginalized, is one of the clearest ways to understand their true character. Zen and Buddhist teachings remind us that real compassion arises not from the desire for recognition or gain but from an inner state of mindfulness and awareness. By cultivating this kind of compassion, we not only reveal our true nature to the world but also become more connected to the shared humanity of those around us. It is in the way we treat others, without expectation, that our true character shines through. How they respond to adversity. The second key to understanding someone's true character is how they respond to adversity. Zen and Buddhist teachings are filled with stories of individuals who faced hardship, loss, and suffering yet maintained a sense of equanimity and compassion. In these traditions, suffering is not seen as an obstacle or something to be avoided, but as an opportunity for growth, understanding, and self-realization. In our daily lives, when faced with difficulty, it's natural to feel anger, frustration, or despair. Many of us instinctively lash out or retreat into ourselves, desperately seeking ways to avoid the pain or discomfort. It's easy to succumb to these negative emotions, as they offer an immediate, albeit temporary, release from suffering. However, for those who have cultivated a deep understanding of themselves and the impermanent nature of reality, often through the practices of mindfulness, meditation, and introspection, the response to adversity takes on a different form. They face challenges with a calm and measured approach. They don't deny the presence of suffering but understand that it is part of the human experience. Rather than running from it or letting it control them, they use adversity as a chance to cultivate wisdom, compassion, and a deeper sense of peace. One of the most famous stories in Zen Buddhism highlights this approach. It is the story of a Zen master who was imprisoned for his beliefs. This master, renowned for his wisdom and insight, was subjected to harsh and inhumane conditions. Yet, instead of allowing the prison environment to break his spirit, he maintained a sense of calm and composure, treating even his captors with respect and kindness. While in prison, the Zen master used his time to deepen his practice. He meditated daily, reflecting on the impermanence of life and the fleeting nature of suffering. He spoke to his fellow prisoners not with bitterness but with compassion, offering them words of encouragement and solace. This story teaches us that true character is not revealed in moments of ease, but in times of challenge. The way we respond to hardship, whether with anger, fear, or resilience, reveals the depth of our inner strength. A person's ability to stay grounded, compassionate, and clear-headed during tough times shows the level of their spiritual development. In Zen and Buddhist thought, suffering is not to be feared or resisted but embraced as an opportunity for transformation. The teachings of the Buddha stress that all life is impermanent, and this includes both our joys and our struggles. When we accept this fundamental truth, we begin to see that adversity is simply another part of the flow of life. Those who truly understand this principle do not allow hardship to define them. Instead, they view it as a momentary experience that will pass, just like everything else. This perspective allows them to meet difficulties with an open heart, knowing that through these moments, they can cultivate greater compassion for themselves and others. Consider the example of a person who, in the face of personal tragedy, might choose to help others who are suffering in similar ways. Instead of becoming consumed by their own grief, they may turn their pain into fuel for action, supporting others in their community, offering solace, and sharing wisdom gained from their own experiences. In doing so, they reveal a profound understanding of human suffering and a deep compassion that goes beyond mere sympathy. This is the response of someone who sees adversity as a teacher rather than an enemy. Ultimately, how we respond to adversity speaks volumes about our true character. It's easy to be kind and patient when things are going well, but it is in the storm that the strength of our inner nature is tested. When faced with hardship, do we retreat into negativity or rise to the challenge with calm and compassion? Zen and Buddhism encourage us to face difficulty with mindfulness and acceptance, to see it as a doorway to personal growth rather than a roadblock. Through this lens, adversity is no longer something to fear, but an opportunity to deepen our understanding of life and cultivate the qualities that define true character: wisdom, resilience, and compassion. So, what can we learn from Zen and Buddhist teachings about how to see a person's true character? The answer lies in two simple yet profound aspects: how someone treats others and how they respond to adversity. These are not just external markers, they are reflections of deeper qualities such as mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. Through the lens of Zen and Buddhism, we come to realize that the essence of a person cannot be easily discerned by superficial appearances or fleeting impressions. It's not about how they look, what they own, or the roles they play in society. It's about the state of their heart and mind, and the way they interact with the world. Zen and Buddhist teachings remind us that true character is revealed not in moments of ease, but in the way we treat those who cannot offer us anything in return, and how we handle the inevitable difficulties of life. By observing these two aspects of behavior, we can uncover the deeper layers of a person's inner world. A world shaped not by external circumstances but by the cultivation of virtues like loving kindness, mindfulness, and wisdom. To truly understand someone, we must look beyond the masks they wear. We must practice mindfulness, not only in how we observe others, but in how we engage with ourselves. Mindfulness allows us to see beyond the distortions created by our own judgments, fears, and expectations. It gives us the clarity to understand that each individual is more than the roles they play or the persona they project. But the teachings of Zen and Buddhism don't just guide us in understanding others, they also offer us a path toward understanding ourselves. By cultivating mindfulness and self-awareness, we begin to shed our own masks, peeling back the layers of social conditioning and ego. In doing so, we move closer to our authentic selves, the essence that remains unchanged beneath the transient experiences and external pressures of life. Through this journey of self-discovery and compassion, we come closer to living in alignment with our true nature. Zen and Buddhism teach us that true wisdom arises from understanding the interconnectedness of all beings, and that to live in harmony with others, we must first live in harmony with ourselves. When we are in touch with our authentic self, we respond to life with greater clarity, calmness, and compassion, qualities that are deeply rooted in the teachings of these ancient traditions. As you continue on your journey of self-awareness, remember that the masks people wear are not permanent. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we allow ourselves to see others and ourselves for who we truly are. Each mask is a temporary construct, and behind it lies the potential for authentic connection. genuine compassion, and wisdom. True character is not something we must seek outside of ourselves, it is something we can discover in every interaction, every moment, and every breath. By looking beyond the masks, by cultivating mindfulness and compassion, we not only uncover the true nature of others, but we also begin to unlock the deeper potential within ourselves. Through this journey, we are guided not by external measures of success, but by the profound wisdom that lies at the heart of Zen and Buddhism, living in harmony with our true nature and with the world around us.